Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Science Monitor, a program that keeps you updated on all that is happening in the world of science and technology. Let us begin by taking a look at the headlines. India to get a below normal monsoon this year. Mangalyaaan's engine restarted, Mars orbiter now on precise path. Usefulness of bamboo discussed at a conference in Bhopal. Earth on the verge of facing a sixth mass extinction. Usefulness of atomic energy discussed at a two-day conference held at Radiation Medicine Center of Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai. And in our segment In Focus, we shall discuss about nature of monsoon in India. And now news in details. In a disappointing news, the Met Department has warned of a 7 to 8% rain deficit this monsoon. This was recently revealed by Minister of State for Science and Technology Jitendra Singh. In India, monsoon is crucial for the economy, especially for the agriculture sector, which is largely rain-fed. Let us see this report.
Arriving about 5 days later than the average date of 1st June, the much-awaited monsoon started in India on a rather weak note and disappointing news. Forecasts predict that with the emerging El Nino in Pacific Ocean, the monsoon this year is expected to bring below-average rainfall. The news was announced by the Honorable Earth Sciences Minister Jitendra Singh earlier this week, who also said that precipitation between June and September this year is expected to be between 90 and 96% of the long-term average. Though the impact of the El Nino weather phenomenon capable of causing drought in South Asia is likely to be weak in India, it is also predicted that the decreased rains may potentially lower grain yields and push up food prices. India's farm sector accounts for 14% of India's nearly $2 trillion economy, with two-thirds of its 1.2 billion population living in rural areas. Half of India's farmland still lacks access to irrigation and many farmers dependent on monsoon rains. With the failing rains, agriculture will be one of the major sectors to be afflicted, thus negatively impacting the economy of the country. Poor rains are likely to adversely affect summer crops such as rice, soybean, corn, cotton and pulses and rises up the prices. India's rice and cotton growing areas are expected to receive deficient monsoon rains, while its soybean growing central region is expected to receive below average rainfall. Though officials have assured that rice being grown in almost all these states may not be a concern and a drop in production could be easily compensated, products like edible oil may have to be imported if soybean production goes down in Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. With fighting food inflation and ensuring food security being declared as the top priority of the new government, Farm Minister Mr. Radha Mohan Singh has announced that government will consider providing subsidized diesel, cheaper loans and extra seeds to farmers if rains are poor this year.
It has been more than 200 days since ISRO launched the Mangalyaan program, and the Mars mission is continuously moving closer to the red planet. In an operation fraught with risks, Indian space scientists gently nudged the Mars orbiter Mangalyaan a bit closer to the red planet on Wednesday. For just few seconds, the space scientists fired 4 rocket engines on board the orbiter to ensure a perfect rendezvous with Mars on 24th of September 2014. Here are the details.
Progressing a step further in its ambitious Mars orbiter mission, the Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO successfully corrected the spacecraft's trajectory on 12th June at 4:30 p.m. This complex process, known as the Trajectory Correction Maneuver, performed by the ground controllers at the ISRO Tracking, Telemetry and Command Network, Bangalore, has put the spacecraft on the right celestial track, which will enable it to reach planet Mars on the scheduled day of September 24th. The trajectory was corrected by firing the 4 thrusters of the orbiter for 16 seconds. This firing imparted an incremental velocity of 1.57 meters a second to the spacecraft. The orbiter is fitted with a total 22 such thrusters. This exercise is said to be the simulation for the crucial Mars orbit insertion maneuver that would take place on 24th September 2040, when 440 Newton liquid engine propulsion system of the spacecraft will be fired. the Mars orbit insertion maneuver would adjust the spacecraft's momentum to allow it to enter the orbit of Mars. S. Arunan, Project Director, Mars Orbiter Mission, has assured that all the systems and subsystems of Mars Orbiter are doing well. Previously, India's Mars Orbiter spacecraft or Mangalyaan crossed the halfway mark of its journey to Mars along the designated trajectory at 9:50 am on April 9, 2014. Mangalyaan was launched into Earth's orbit on board PSLV C-25 on 5th November 2013 by the Indian Space Research Organisation. On December 1, 2013, the spacecraft was set in its course towards planet Mars through a heliocentric trajectory by performing a trans-Mars injection maneuver. Again on December 11, 2013, soon after the spacecraft crossed the sphere of influence of Earth, a trajectory correction maneuver was performed successfully on the spacecraft.
Bamboo plant can be really helpful for us. This was demonstrated at a national conference held in Bhopal recently. The conference was attended by bamboo specialists from all over the country.
Celebrating the World Environment Day, a two-day national seminar on the theme Bamboo for Better Future was organized during 5th and 6th June in Bhopal. The seminar was organized by Madhya Pradesh Bamboo Mission and Madhya Pradesh Forest Department in association with National Bamboo Mission with the objective of promoting the cultivation and use of bamboo. The seminar saw the participation of directors of various bamboo missions across the country, forest officials and environmentalists. The environmental importance of bamboo was discussed upon during the seminar along with the use of bamboo as a crucial raw material for a variety of purposes. Participants made presentations on techniques for promoting the cultivation of bamboo, while directors of various bamboo missions across the country discussed about the various strategies being adopted in their respective states to promote the cultivation and use of bamboo. Experts drew attention to the fact that bamboo cultivation, besides being a livelihood option, can also be an important step towards conservation of environment and stress on the need of providing technical assistance to Indian bamboo farmers in order to increase the entrepreneurial opportunities of bamboo cultivation. Bamboo is a unique class of flowering perennial evergreen plants belonging to the grass family Poaceae. They are known to be one of the fastest growing plants that can thrive well without the application of chemical fertilizers. With more than 250 species of bamboo known, they are of notable economic and cultural significance in different parts of the world. Bamboo is also known to have many medical properties as well, and it is said that bamboo was the first plant species to appear after the nuclear devastation of Japan, indicating its resilience. Owing to its role as a crucial nature resource, there is an immediate need to promote the cultivation and use of bamboo.
Many exotic plants and animals are slowly edging towards mass extinction. Scientists believe that Earth is on the verge of facing a sixth mass extinction. Now, mass extinctions are periods in Earth's history when abnormally large number of species die out simultaneously or within a limited time frame. During mass extinctions, many species of plants and animals disappear, much like the way dinosaurs disappeared from the face of the Earth.
A shocking new study now reveals that plant and animal species are becoming extinct at least 1,000 times faster than they did before humans entered the picture. It is the study conducted by a team of researchers led by Dr. Stuart Pym of Duke University in collaboration with Dr. Clinton Jenkins of the Institute of Ecological Research, comparing the past and present rates of extinction, that has come up with alarming discovery that the rate of extinction of species in the past is much lower than what we believe, and the current rate is about 10 times faster than previously believed. Scientists claim that the world is on the brink of a sixth great extinction. Scientists say that the major cause of the extinction of species is due to loss of habitat due to human interventions. Other factors include invasive species crowding out native species, climate change affecting the survival of species, and overfishing. The researchers convey that immediate actions need to be taken to ensure the conservation of natural habitats. It is also proposed that smartphones and applications such as iNaturalists be used to trace species in trouble and save them.
Atomic energy can be helpful for humanity. This was the topic of discussion at a two-day conference held at Radiation Medicine Center of Bhabha Atomic Research Center in Mumbai. At the conference, it was demonstrated as to how nuclear medicine is being used to cure a number of diseases. This center is located at Tata Memorial Hospital in Mumbai, where nuclear medicine is used not only to treat cancer but other diseases as well.
With the aim of creating awareness about the crucial services and facilities provided by the center, the Radiation Medicine Center of the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai, during 11th and 12th June, organized a two-day seminar on Radiation Medicine Center (RMC) in the service of the nation. A visit to the RMC facilities was also arranged for the participants during the seminar.
Massive outreach program has been taken up by Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai, to popularize nuclear science and technology, to inform the citizens about benefits of atomic energy, and to clarify any doubt or about radiation and safety. We organize seminars and exhibitions in different universities and colleges all over India. We organize visits to Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai, of students and faculty from different colleges and universities of the country.
The Radiation Medicine Center of PARC, one of the pioneering institutions providing low-cost nuclear medicine and diagnostics, was established in 1963.
Nuclear medicine, if you in private practice, is fairly expensive, so not many people can afford. So, as part of the DA initiative towards societal benefit, we are carrying out nuclear medicine procedures at very low cost. It is, can say, bare minimum cost, or it is subsidized cost, or sometimes if a very poor patient comes, we don't even take the nominal charge also. So our charges anyway are very much lesser compared to any private hospital. But even that, if a very poor patient is there, we waive it. So our challenge is that the nuclear medicine facility should be available to a larger number of people.
We should serve at the very low cost. For example, in our center, any kind of a nuclear scan is costing not more than 350 rupees. It is basically fixed for all the types of scan. I will give you the example in the private. For suppose if you are undergoing a technetium labeled MIBS scan for the heart, it will cost you around 10 to 11,000 rupees, and we are charging only 350 rupees. So you can imagine the cost difference. Another area like PET CT scan, which cost around 15 to 20,000 in the private setup, we are doing it totally free of cost. This is a service to for the poor patients. BRC is really doing a service to the poor patient. This I can 100% tell. And therapy wise, if you look at it, recently what we have started in lutetium-177 dotatate therapy. This works out 15,000 for the patient, and the same is costing around more than a lakh rupee in the private sector.
The largest nuclear diagnosis center in the country and in entire Southeast Asia, RMC provides nuclear diagnosis and therapy to almost 10,000 patients annually. Nuclear diagnosis and therapy is generally prescribed for patients suffering from cancers, ear diseases, thyroid disorders, etc. Since its establishment, RMC is involved in the promotion of medical use of radioisotopes along with clinical research and development of novel imaging protocols and diagnostics, radiopharmaceuticals, etc.
Time to take a very short break here, but we'll be back with more science news. So stay tuned. Welcome back after the break. You're watching Science Monitor. And now our next segment, Science Express, shall take you through an exciting journey that will show you some other scientific activities across the country and the world.
Kunnamkulam nuclear power plant built on India and Russian technology started full-fledged power production in its first unit on 7th June. Bridging the critical power supply gap in India, Kunnamkulam power plant is expected to produce 1000 megawatts of electricity for the electricity grid. The unit will generate power to its utmost capacity for a month, following which the power generation will be reduced and the reactor and the process checked and verified for their performance and efficiency. Along with the first unit, actions are being undertaken to prepare the second unit of the Kunnamkulam nuclear power plant to start power production on an initial low scale. According to the most recent weather reports, the tropical cyclone named Naunak that had developed in the Arabian Sea is expected to hit the Gulf countries by Sunday. The reports say that while isolated heavy rainfalls and strong winds may be expected along Konkan and South Gujarat coast, the cyclone will not have any major effect on India. Naunak is expected to make landfall in Oman between Ras Al Had and Ras Madraka on 15 June, mildly affecting the eastern and southeastern areas of UAE. Researchers have now come up with a statistic that says that the global temperature has risen by 0.9 degrees Celsius in the past 50 years. Scientists attribute this alarming rise to thoughtless developmental activities. According to the researchers, the rise in temperature is also obvious in hilly regions with considerably cooler climate, and factors that contribute to this rise range from pollution and falling of trees to massive spread of concrete structures. In this background, a proposal has been submitted to the Department of Science and Technology to set up a high-tech laboratory that can aid the collection of accurate environmental data to assess the situation. Following the death of 44 children in 6 districts of Bihar over the past fortnight due to encephalitis, Health Minister Shri Harshvardhan has called upon the campaign to drive 100% immunization of children against encephalitis. In his address, the minister stressed on the need of replicating the Pulse Polio campaign model to achieve this objective. To identify the districts most vulnerable to encephalitis and carry out the actual immunization on 22nd and 23rd June.
The entire country starts praying for monsoon from the month of May itself. We anxiously keep looking at the sky, wishing for the rainfall. This season, scientists have predicted a below normal rainfall. So how does the monsoon reach us? Where all does it travel, and why does it keep on increasing or decreasing at different times? We shall discuss the nature of monsoon in our special segment In Focus.
Monsoon is much awaited phenomenon in India. Monsoons bringing respite from the heat of Indian summers are also known to be the backbone of Indian agriculture. The term monsoon originates from the Arabic word Monsoon, which means season, and are commonly perceived as the strong seasonal winds blowing from the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea to India, bringing heavy rainfall. Climatologists broadly describe monsoon as seasonal changes in atmospheric circulation and precipitation associated with the asymmetric heating of land and sea. Two types of monsoons are prevalent, namely the summer monsoon, also known as the southwest monsoons, and the winter monsoons, also called the northeast monsoon. It is well known that land and water varies considerably in their specific heat capacities. As a result, during the summers, the air above land heats up faster than air above seas, thus creating an area of low pressure above the land. As air flow from high pressure area to low pressure regions, air from the sea flows towards the land in the form of sea breeze. Following this, during the summers, a high pressure area lies over the Indian Ocean while a low pressure region exists over the Asian continent. The air masses move from the high pressure area over the ocean to the low pressure area over the continent, bringing moisture-laden air to South Asia. As these winds, rich in moisture, advance over the Indian subcontinent through various geographical features like Western Ghats and the Himalayas, the wind cools and loses its moisture in the form of rain. As a result, India experiences heavy rainfall during June to September. This season is called the summer monsoon or the southwest monsoon. Alternatively, during winters, the process is reversed and a low-pressure area is created over the Indian Ocean, while a high-pressure area over the Tibetan Plateau near India. As a result, air flows down the Himalayas and south to the ocean. During this, the dry cold wind absorbs moisture from the Bay of Bengal and causes rain over the peninsular India during the October-November season. This is called the winter monsoon, northeast monsoon or retreating monsoon. Monsoons have a large socio-economic significance as India and Southeast Asia largely depend on the summer monsoon for agriculture and water supply. Large population of farmers who lack access to irrigation systems relies upon monsoon to sustain their rain-fed agriculture. Industry in India and Southeast Asia also relies on the summer monsoon. Major parts of the electricity in these regions is produced by hydroelectric power plants driven by water collected during the monsoons. This year, as the prediction goes, summer monsoons that have already started on a rather weak note is likely to bring less than average rainfall to India. This is the consequence of the famous phenomenon called El Nino, resulting from fluctuations in water temperatures of the Pacific Ocean. El Nino and the Indian summer monsoon are inversely related. When El Nino occurs, warm water spreads from the Indian Ocean to the East Pacific, and there is a rise in the surface pressure over the Indian Ocean. Such change in pressure leads to the diversion of moist winds that causes monsoon rainfall from the Indian Ocean towards the eastern coast of South America. This change in wind pattern in turn reduces the amount of rainfall in the Indian subcontinent during June to September monsoon and causes heavy rainfall in the normally dry eastern Pacific. Thus, during El Nino, rainfall in India is below normal, and this invariably has a bearing on agriculture, which is heavily dependent on June-September monsoon. However, India has already opened up its arms to receive the monsoon with the hope that El Nino might not have the harshest of its effect on the Indian monsoon this year.
And what has been this week's contribution to the history of science? Let us find out in our segment History of Science.
On June 16, 1902, renowned geneticist Barbara McClintock was born. She did her research on the cytogenetics of maize and found out that the genes are active on and in between the chromosomes. She was awarded with the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 1983. On June 17, 1832, the British chemist and physicist Sir William Crookes was born. He discovered a new element thallium and also showed that cathode rays were fast-moving, negatively charged particles. During the process of the cathode formation in the minimum pressure, the black field across the electrodes is called Crookes dark space, named after its founder James Crookes. On June 18, 2001, after the joint efforts of a Canadian, an American and a British scientist, the discovery of 3 types of solar neutrino, namely electron, muon and tau, was announced. The team was led by Arthur MacDonald. Prior to this, the neutrino was just forecast in principle. On June 19, 1963, the erstwhile USSR's woman astronaut Valentina Tereshkova returned safely to Earth after spending nearly 3 days in the space, and she became the first woman to go in space. She was sent to the space on June 16, 1963 in the space shuttle Vostok 6. Her flight made 48 orbits of Earth. On June 20, 1865, famous English physician George Redmayne Murray was born. It was in 1891 that he successfully treated a hypothyroidism, that is myxedema, female patient for the first time in the world by using the fluid from the thyroid gland of a sheep. On June 22, 1978, astrophysicist James W. Christie discovered the first satellite of Pluto, Charon. The diameter of Charon is nearly 1,212 kilometers. This is about 19,600 kilometers away from Pluto and takes 6.4 days to revolve around it.
So, how do you like our program Science Monitor? Well, do send in your comments and suggestions through email. Our email address is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also send us your suggestions by post. Our postal address is Vigyan Prasar, C24, Qutub Institutional Area, New Delhi 110016. That is all in today's edition of Science Monitor, but we shall meet next week with more dosage of science news and lots of exciting information. Till then, goodbye and take care.